I noticed one of the MPs put up on the Facebook about how his parliamentary question was not answered. But the truth is, every parliamentary question is answered, whether orally or in written form. If you want it to be asked orally, sometimes we cluster questions by themes. We also make sure that every ministry has an opportunity to address issues pertaining to the ministry. In fact, I get members of parliament from my own political party grumbling about why their questions weren't answered. Sometimes in terms of sequencing, they may not get answered. It's rolled over, sometimes several times. But if you feel strongly that you want it to be orally answered, you can continue to table it and roll it over to the next sitting. But every question is answered. But when I look at the responses, certainly on social media from the public, when someone put up a post that their question was not answered, they're deliberately trying to crowd out the questions so that it doesn't get answered. But the truth is, all questions are answered, certainly at the very least in the written form. So I guess it's really important for us to take the opportunity as things develop to explain each stage, each process, each committee, what it does, what it doesn't do, so that we don't have a sort of mistaken expectation of what it ought to be and ought not to be. Because this is our democracy in practice. It's not very dissimilar from other Westminster-based parliamentary democracies, but it has variations as well. I just came back from UK at a seminar, and clearly there are variations, and we don't differ in many different ways. But many of them also realize that they need to also educate the public in terms of the processes, so that you can actually have confidence in the process. Because in the same societies, people also get very agitated when they sometimes don't understand the process and feels that it's unfair, etc. I mean, I've had people who come up to me and say that, no, now that you're speaker, you should be more impartial, let the opposition speak more. And I ask them, what exactly do you mean? Are you basing it on perception? Are you basing it on fact? So I asked my parliamentary staff to compile in the course of the last year, because my own sense was that actually I do personally, actively try to set aside opportunities for the opposition to speak up, especially being a predominantly PAP-dominated
What has
parliament.
your research shown?
And it's shown that actually 30%, slightly more than a third of the time, airtime for the opposition, whether through responses, through questions. I believe they have about 9 of them, 6 elected members, 3 NCMPs in a field of 101 members of parliament. That's about, I guess, about 9-10%. So whether that's fair, unfair, but I think I certainly know that Madam Halimah did, I certainly do. And I think when I look at the data in terms of airtime, they do speak up 30% of the time. And good for them, as they should be. And that should also prod our own MPs who also actively have issues to raise. But we do try to make sure that there is fair representation. And as it turns out, I'm a bit surprised by the percentage.